I'm Sloan.
And I'm Isabel.
So our idea was basically just, we can just go to the next slide, honestly, that'll be easier to explain. We created a surveying QR code that we basically just took data from, that we sent out in the honors newsletter stuff to see what people knew about the Museum of Art already, have they been, what would make them go more, and then we have an idea to how you guys could possibly use that approach for more of a partnership between CSU and you guys.
Yeah, I also created this flyer, and we posted it to social media, and we also tried to get it to some other places around CSU campus, and we just really wanted to focus mainly on creating that partnership with CSU for the most part.
So in our survey, the main questions that we asked were like have you heard of the Museum of Art? Just to gauge like how many people have been to Old Town, like seen it, maybe been to it. And then have you been to the Museum of Art to see how many people in the community have visited and like interacted with it?
Yeah, and we also wanted to make sure that CSU students knew that it was free for us. And when we get to our other information later, you'll see that a lot of students didn't know that. So that could be a marketing tool for you guys too as well.
And the final question we asked, was what's important to like when attending the museum and what they would like to see in the museums, like what they could go, because a lot of kids our age and they're like, oh, museum, like when you think of museum, I'm like, oh, boring, I don't want to go, but they might not know of like how it's interactive or how it could relate to their own lives. So to see like what people thought about that, and then how you guys could use that to advertise to students or make it more engaging.
So the first question, have you heard of the Museum of Art? Of the respondents to our survey, 57.1% of respondents have heard about the Museum of Art. And next slide. Of the respondents, 57.1% of people have never been to the Museum of Art. So even though like some people in the community have been, like not everybody, or have heard about it, not everybody's been. So that's kind of like maybe a point.
Can I ask how many people answered the survey?
14, 15.
Yeah, we sent it out in the honors newsletter. That goes
Okay,
every week.
great.
And then for the question of if CSU students knew that it was free for CSU students, about 78% of people said that they didn't know that it was free, and of those 78%, 64 said that now they're more likely to visit knowing that it's free.
Because knowing the broke college students like already thinking like, oh, I didn't go to the museum, like they want to get food that's not in the dining hall, they want to like spend it on other stuff. If they know something's free, they're like, oh, that's something I can take advantage of, and it's not hurting their pocket in any way.
Yeah, so we also wanted to look at the important aspects for each of our respondents that we asked. We did like a little free response question at the very end, and about almost 80% said that they rate the topic of interest of the exhibit as a really, really crucial part of visiting the museum. They want to find something that has a social impact or some kind of art that speaks to them, and about 70% also said the interactiveness is really crucial as well, making sure that they can keep their children and even themselves involved, and as a student as well, like, you know, having something that catches your eye or something that maybe you could research later in the future for another class. And then again, about 70% also said the price is a crucial factor, as we mentioned before, as Sloan mentioned, for college students, but then also just families and everybody else in general in the community. We also wanted to ask what would make people more likely to visit. So this more focuses on a little bit more of the interactive pieces also. Some also said, I think maybe about 5 respondents said that they would like to see food and beverages, maybe that correlate with interactive pieces. Like for example, if we have some kind of art exhibit that is, you know, based on like different kinds of flowers or different kinds of like how it relates to cultural whatnot, we could do like tea or something that connects with the artists themselves, or they could talk to the artist and see what inspired them, that kind of thing.
And on top of like creating that like positive experience, if that's someone's like first time, they're like, oh, that was cool. That's not a typical museum that my mom dragged me to on vacation when I was younger. And then that make them cause them to come back like, oh, this museum is different. I can interact with it. It applies to me more than just reading a long plaque on the wall about someone you've never heard of. And same thing goes with the hands-on and interpretive activities. So changes we drew from this that we had ideas from, there was like a lot that you could draw from, but mainly the interactive aspect that we learned was a really crucial part, especially for college students. And a lot of other groups focused on this as well, but creating partnerships for the university through clubs, Greek life, cultural centers, and out in the community. And the school is like the first group had the idea for. And ours is kind of, our idea is sort of a partnership, but it's just towards CSU as a whole and less more than individual clubs, to more of a ambassador kind of program. And through that we can increase advertising towards CSU students, and obviously hanging up posters, that's an easy thing we can do. So this is kind of like a summary of what we propose to do with these survey results, because obviously we don't just like give you data and be like, oh yeah, use that. The idea we kind of have was more of a student ambassador program. We thought of partnering with the College of Liberal Arts, since that's obviously more geared towards what they're studying, but anyone could be a part of their honors program. Natural resources students, anyone could be a part of it that felt called to do so for whatever reason. Since most people don't know that it's free for CSU students, and that they're more likely to visit knowing that it's free, and how interactiveness is important, we thought that a strong like ambassador program and people that were committed to the museum long term and fostering that connection would be really helpful to promote visitation for both students and the community as a whole. So these students could do it for a semester, like just like try it out. It was engaging for them. They thought they took more away from it, especially if they could get some sort of honors credit or university credit. It's also just a great resume builder from a business perspective, even if they're not an art student, to form some sort of like projects and coordinate volunteering through FSL community, like I said, through clubs, through whatever organizations it might mean. So using these survey results to influence and just gain the ambassadors to continue fostering that connection, because I know you guys said just the last group like, well, these are ideas, but you'd like the we factor, and I thought that would be a really strong like thing to pull from CSU students to commit long term towards it.
Yeah, then we'll just leave it to any questions that you may have.
Well, I love the idea of the ambassador program, that someone would actually be hanging and telling people. Our fall exhibit is around Native American art and issues through the art, right? Like, we'll be exploring, not cowboy and Indian kind of paintings, right? It'll be very powerful. And so I think this fall would be, what you said about, or I don't even know if this was this group or the next, but it's stuck in my head, that students care about social issues, right? And we know this about Gen Z employees too. They want to work for companies that are making an impact, not necessarily the salary, right? They want to know that the mission is pure, and so it does kind of align with what you bring to the museum and what you bring to the museum in terms of MOA for All and the types of exhibits you bring is something that aligns with the student values and your generation's values. It's not art on a wall and a plaque. Right. So I think you've really tapped into that. What do you think about also students bringing their parents? Like when your parents come to town, or like what do we do with my parents?
Yeah, I think like family weekend and like homecoming, that's what it is for the like in October. That's obviously a huge event that draws like thousands of people every year. And I think pushing advertising during that would be a really, really good opportunity to bring more people in, because obviously like parents of older generations like, oh yeah, let's go see the art museum. Like, what have you not been to? Especially for freshmen, like, oh yeah, because they don't have a car and their parents are here. Like, that's an opportunity for them to go
and
explore.
Their
the
parents
city
have to
more.
pay. So
Exactly. Oh, you can be free. So why don't we go as well?
Right.
I think that's a really important place to bring up advertising, and then the students go on, so like, oh, this isn't just a thing I did with parents. Like, I can come back here and it's free for me always. So I think that's a really good time to push advertising.
Well, I think personally, like, at least for me, I really like showing off all the cool things Fort Collins has to offer, because when you're not from this town and you kind of want to show your parents, like, look, I'm getting involved and I'm doing things that are fun. And so I think the museum could really be a good opportunity for that and show, like, this is leaving an impact on our community and our school as well. Like, I think that will be really amazing. And I remember from our brainstorming meeting that we spoke about how you said your next exhibit is the Native American culture. And we have a cultural center in the Laurie Student Center, and they would, I'm absolutely sure that they would love to interact with that and
That's
help
right.
you guys
Oh,
with
that's
that if
cool.
you need.
It's a Native American Cultural Center.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
I just love that I'm learning so much about how like people function, how the systems function at CSU, because I feel like we could start this ambassadors program and then people who participate can get volunteer hours and like do all this work for us. but hopefully get a lot out of it.
Yeah.
But
I'm talking about parents, when they come, they spend a lot of money. They do.
We
So-
do get a lot of people on family weekends. And we get parents paying.
Should do a fundraiser
And they
that
buy
weekend.
them things
The
and they gift shop.
fundraisers can be exactly at that time.
Mhm.
And
Yeah,
I
we
would
could
do
do like
something
a-
like casino night, and when they are in the city, the parents, they can come and they will spend money, that's for sure. Because they're looking for fun things for themselves as well.
Mhm.
Oh,
So it's not the only
absolutely.
shopping, it
Yeah.
should be something more
Mhm.
cultural. Shopping's cultural too, I think. Any other questions?
Well, and I wanna say I appreciate the work that went into data collection and questions and all of it. It's not easy and it's good information to have, so thank you.
Thank you.